New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith-Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, so I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Don't you get always more energized when you get to hour number 2, but specifically when you just got to talk about everybody's favorite team in Major League Baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies? Tom, hour number 2, Pro Baseball Today, SportsGrid Network. It's what we do on Sundays, and we have one more hour to go. By the way, hour number 1, fast, man. Fast times.
Always goes by fast. We start off, lay the land, where the league is, what happened over the past, week, touching on this, that, standings. And then we're right into capping, as you say. We have a full slate. It's always Sundays. We're going to get all the teams in action today. We got a few more to get to. We got one more hour left. Let's keep things rolling.
I can't wait for this show goes on a Sunday show. Maybe also now. See, I'm thinking. I'm planning ahead right now, which I like to do. Tom, there can't be a show on All-Star break weekend, is there? Like we're going to have
That's
one of those.
That's a good question.
Oh, wait,
That's
actually,
good.
no. Excuse me. They will be playing Sundays though. Yes,
they
there
play
we go.
Sunday,
so
off Monday.
Yeah,
Tuesday is the home run derby. Wednesday's the game, or whatever combination that is.
Yep. Right. I always look out for us here at that point. So I was going to say, like, is there going to be a day where we sit on a Sunday, like, hey, let's handicap and there's no games too? No, we're going to power through all season long on Sundays, which is important, which means today, the Washington Nationals and the Miami Marlins. Gore on the mound, the lefty, going up against Quantrill. 951, 952 rotation. 140 start from South Florida. This line opened up as a slight favorite towards Washington, 136. We're now seeing as high as 148 to 150s in the marketplace, and a total that opened up at 8, still sitting at 8. For me, there is an advantage today, Tom. Is there one for you?
Yeah, it's on the national side of things, and Mackenzie Gore is awesome. He's great. Cal Quantrill on the other side for the Marlins is not. He's a terrible pitcher. And I know a lot of people are going to look back and say, last year, he pitched for the Rockies, right? Oh, it's the Rockies. We got to look at his stats. We got to take everything with a grain of salt. You look at some of his home-away splits. They're almost the same. Home, 1.47 home runs allowed per 9. Away, 1.32. That's not some dramatic difference. They were saying, oh, it's because of Coors Field. He's a bad pitcher. No. He's a bad pitcher whether he was home or away. Last season versus righties at home, 1.16 home runs per 9. Away versus righties, 2.27 home runs per 9. He allowed fewer home runs at Coors Field than he did on the road. It has nothing to do with Coors Field. He's not a good pitcher. The Nats are going to win today.
By the way, good statistics by you too, Tom, because I just did a little bit of quick research here on the fly. 2024 with Colorado, the numbers that we like to look at, xFIP minus takes the ballpark out of play. a 120, which again, 100 is baseline. So he was 20% worse last year, no matter which ballpark that he was pitching in. So love to see those stats that we can call up for the people to try to make a more informed decision. You look last year, 659 batters again, Tom, high ISO power number, weighted on base percentage high. This year, lefties, he's had under control, but righties, not under control. So I look at that lineup today, and we anticipate Call, Wood, Ruiz, Lowe, and Bell in the middle of that lineup. Lowe, Lau. By the way, Nathaniel Lowe, correct on that one, right? I want to assume that the last, there we go. So, I mean, Lowe, Lau, enough for that. Everybody should be named
Lowe. We got to, there's 3 of them across the league.
Ridiculous. Exactly. It's a pain in the neck to say, but I like Call, Wood, Ruiz, Lowe, and Bell to do some damage today in that environment. So I do look at the same. Now, are you saying, hey, Washington maybe not good, to trust them as a favorite yesterday? Because I like the Marlins yesterday to win, and they did. Role reversal to me. Today, it's Washington. I think they pick up the victory. I think they can get some runs today.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that we'll always talk about in baseball. It's like, whether it's the Nationals or it's the Marlins, it's like, we may not have a lot of long-term faith in them, but it's like, oh, I don't want to bet on them. It's like, we're also not just betting on them. We're also betting against the Marlins pitching staff. That's what this is about. People are going, they're not a good team. It's like, there are bad pitchers on the other side, and it's baseball. They can come through and get some hits and score some runs.
Sneaky team total could it be today for those Washington Nationals? We'll see how it plays out to fruition. But usually that game's like, I'll pass by it. Some pretty good options in that game. And also the betting public starting to surround the Washington Nationals by pushing that number higher and higher. We'll see how it lands by the time we get to game time. How about a 4:10 start out on the West Coast? Or I guess you could say West Coast out there in Arizona. 9:57, 9:58. It's Milwaukee. It's Arizona. It's Peralta. It's Gallen. This line opened up as a -126 favorite towards the Snakes at home. We're still in that environment, as low now as -120, almost in that pick 'em environment. But the total, Tom, opened up at 8.5. Now sitting at 8 across the board as we take a look at these two pitchers today with Freddie Peralta and Zach Gallen. Give me some of your thoughts here today.
Yeah, this is like the classic pitchers duel, aces on the mound that you want to see. Like, we're at this point in the season where, we had all the ones go. We were on that same, like, I would say, system where it's like all ones, all twos, all threes, all fours, all fives. And then we finally got these break days mixed in, and now we actually have some aces lining up back against each other, which is what we want to see. Freddie Peralta's greatest strikeout rate is up compared to last year. It's up at 32.8%. His xFIP is down this year, and he's actually handling things. It's down to 2.9 compared to last year at 3.9, which is great to see. Obviously, Zach Gallen, we know what he's done over the past few years. We saw a great comeback from the Diamondbacks last night. Scoring was 4 or 5 runs, all in the bottom of the ninth. They got shut out for a long, long time. Despite the fact that Gallen allows a 38.1% hard contact rate and a fly ball rate up at 45%, I still think there's power lacking on the Brewers side of things. And if there's any side to be on this, I think it's just about the under. I can't pick a money line. I don't know who's going to win, but man, give me the under in this game.
Yeah, take a look at Zach Gallen on the season. 15 1/3 innings pitched here, 5.28 ERA, but his xFIP is lower at 3.87. So maybe a little bit of unluckiness, if you will, because last year Gallen, 621 batters he faced, a 139 ISO and a 304 weighted on base percentage, was very good against lefties, very good against righties. This season, 28 batters Tommy faced from the right side. Again, a 0 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 137. Minuscule numbers. He's struggling with lefties. So if you look at the top of that lineup, Bryce Terang has really hit right-handed pitching well to open up the season. 31 at-bats he's had, a 259 ISO and a weighted on-base percentage of 444. And the things that you like, a K percentage under 20% and a walk rate around 10%. Stacking the deck. The one guy, if I had to pick out in this lineup, if we're just looking off of what Zach Gallen has done this season against lefties, it's probably going to be Yelich for me. 33 at-bats, a 345 ISO and a weighted on-base percentage of 394. Also, K rate under 20% and a walk rate of close to 12%. The first 4 batters in that lineup better do damage for the Brewers because the final couple guys, Frelick, Hoskins, Mitchell, Ortiz, and Dunn, 111 ISO, 0 ISO, 111 ISO, 0 ISO, and 091. So it's going to have to come from up top. And if I had to pick one player that I liked in this lineup today, it would be Yelich to do a little bit of damage.
Okay, so I can buy instead. For me, I think Terang would be the answer, and I think it would be 2+ total bases at +105, where he's not a power guy, right? He's not going to be going for 3 home runs or whatever, but get on base, and if they can get on base and drive up that pitch count for Gallen, again, his walk rate this year is elevated at, it's 11.6%. So he's a great pitcher, but if we can get someone on base, drive up that pitch count, they'll bring in someone else, and that's where I think Terang will be able to excel. So +105 for just 2+ total bases, keep it really simple.
Now, the one thing we do, because Zach Gallen is a really good pitcher, and I always like to have these type of conversations with you, Tom, at the beginning of the season, because some people, and again, Jose Barrios is a household name. Like, ooh, I don't know if I want to fade that guy because I know, like, in the past couple of years, he can have those great starts. How do you feel about a guy like Zach Gallen, like a 5.28 ERA? We know he's not as bad as that, but functioning on that number with the limited innings that he's had, do you sort of fade early to the season, or do you take a step back, say he could snap back today and have a great pitching performance against this lineup for the Brewers?
So it depends on what story you want to tell yourself. Like if I'm a believer in Zach Gallen, I'm gonna find stats from against Zach Gallen. Like at a quick cursory glance, his xFIP is 387, like you said. He is allowing an 11.9% barrel rate, which would be the highest of his career. Last year was at 7.4%. So if I want to make the argument that, there are some warning signs, we can find the stats to back that up. But actually, if I want to find other signs that say he's, his ground ball rate is actually a lot worse as this year. So I would have to dig in and actually find stats that make Zach Gallen look good compared to his ERA, which is obviously not a bad stat, or a bad stat, but something we just don't use. Or I'd have to find stats that say he's actually on the flip side of things. He's actually just been unlucky. So it really depends on what argument you want to tell yourself.
The great thing about Major League Baseball, too, these things iron themselves out. Well, like Zach Gallen, we probably expect him to have a very good season once he gets back on track. But you just see the early season, if there's a chance that maybe you can jump that pitcher, maybe it's one of those days. But also, it's not like we're jumping the pitcher with the Dodgers with the wind blowing out. Like, it's still that Brewers lineup, which leaves a lot to be desired, as I just talked about 5-9 and the expectations today. But it should be a fun one, and also from an Arizona perspective. You take a look at Carroll, Perdomo, Smith, and Naylor at the top of that lineup, Gurriel and Suarez as well. The top six, they've done damage against right-handed pitching. But Peralta having a very good start to the season. We're rolling in hour number 2. We'll be right back.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, so I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of aces working today. And yes, I include Donnie Rightside and Tom Vecchio is working on a Sunday as aces of the SportsGrid Network for Pro Baseball Today. But also, take a look at this in the Pacific Northwest today. Rotational number 973, 974. Nathan Eovaldi of the Rangers going to take on Seattle's Logan Gilbert. A 4-10 start out west. Sevens as the number at the opening Now we see, Tom, for the total, 6.5s across the board. Slight favorite for Gilbert at 134 to 135. Everybody now showing just about now a minus 130 price. Texas, Seattle, Pacific Northwest, T-Mobile Stadium. What are we looking at?
We're looking at two awesome pitchers. Logan Gilbert is awesome. And this game screams under. When you're looking at a 38.5% strikeout rate, which I do not think is sustainable, and this is kind of one of the things that we just talked about with the Allens. Like, Logan Gilbert is awesome right now. Is he going to maintain a nearly 40% strikeout rate, something that Jacob deGrom didn't even do? No, of course not. We're going to see that settle back down. Last year's at 27%. So we're going to fall back in that 28 to kind of 32 range, but it's phenomenal. He's allowing a 4.6% walk rate. Home runs have always been an issue for him. A 1.49 xFIP is absolutely unbelievable. He does not allow hard contact. He does not allow fly balls. On the other side, Eovaldi also been off to a pretty solid start this season. I love to see that the strikeout rate is elevated. The home runs are down. A 2.7% walk rate for Eovaldi is phenomenal. No one's going to be on base in this game from either team. They're just going to be striking out hitters. Either team can win this game 1-0. I don't know who wins it. It's about the under.
Exactly. And that's always some food for thought to think about, because you're trying to analyze these games. It's like, okay, two really good pitchers in good form, not a hitter's ballpark. Maybe it's an error that happens. Maybe it's a walk that you didn't anticipate that leads to a stolen base and an error that drives in a run. Because you look at the lineup today for the Texas Rangers, name-wise, it looks great. But performance-wise, the season open up against right-handed pitching hasn't been great. Josh Smith, Adolis Garcia, Josh Jung, and maybe Heim. But outside of that, I was like, hey, I'm just going to take Seager. Low numbers here. 103 ISO power number through 33 at-bats against right-handed pitching. Marcus Semien, one of the better leadoff hitters typically in baseball, really struggling to open the season with power numbers and weighted on base percentage against right-handed pitching. You go over to the other side in Seattle, we always know the issues that they have. And then you take a look at Nathan Eovaldi, who was great last year, a little bit of a struggle with lefties, but this year, again, an 0.90 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 205 through 73 batters. I do like the power numbers for the top of the lineup for Seattle. Rodriguez, Polanco, Raleigh, and also Rosarania. But outside of that, I'm with you, Tom. I look at this game and I just say, you know what? 58 degrees, Pacific Northwest, two really good pitchers, a 6.5 total. If I gave you a bet today, 6.5, extremely low. 3-3 gets you the automatic victory. I actually go still under the 6.5. Where do you go in this game?
It has to be under. Did you say there was a 7 across the board? It would open up at 6.5. Maybe you can get a 7. Honestly, what I honestly hope is that if you can get a quick run early from either of these teams being the first, and it jumps up to 7 or 7.5, I would just buy back in on under 7.5. Like, these pitchers are so good, and we've seen the Mariners team. They struggled the entire series versus the Astros outside that one late explosion. They're just not an offensive powerhouse that we have to be worried about.
Yeah, most games have multiple things like, oh, this pitcher, this batter going up against it. My simple statistics in this game was Eovaldi looks really good and Gilbert's nasty. End the story in that game. You won't see me finding my way around to a parlay, a hitter's cluster in the middle of that lineup. Absolutely not as we go. Let's keep it moving here. Houston, 969, 970. Los Angeles Angels taking on the Houston Astros. Hendricks versus Wisniewski, a 210 start today. If we look at the line, minus 152 at the opening number, as high as 162 at an outlet, and a total that opened up at 9, now down to 8.5. I'll tell you right now, I like the look, and not very many people have said this coming in the season, like the look of that Angels lineup, their power numbers, their at-bats. They look really good this year, man.
They do. We talked about this. I talked about this with Joe Ranieri the other night. I just don't think it's sustainable for the Angels. And I know we saw a good performance from Tyler Anderson yesterday. He had a no-hitter through 4 or 5, whatever it was yesterday versus the Astros. I think they bounced back today. Kyle Hendricks is the prototypical veteran pitcher who does not strike a lot of hitters out. He allows the ball in play. He's not going to allow too many guys on base for walks, but it's the BABIP thing where it's just single, double, maybe a home run, maybe a walk. I have faith in the Astros. I know they're not off to the best start, but seeing what is this, a 320 FIP, not XFIP, and a 355 xERA. He's just not a pitcher that I'm overly worried about. His barrel rate is up at 9.7%. So just give me some of the Astros hitters to come through. I tweeted out that I have Altuve in the hit parlay, but I think this game's kind of just a wash for me. I think the Astros bounce back and win.
Here's the interesting part, too, because you take a look at this game and try to style it up. Like, Jose Altuve, 59 at-bats. Like, he's not his MVP level right now against right-handed pitching. A 161 ISO, weighted on base percentage is decent at 383. But the guys behind him, like, Isaac Paredes you bring over, struggling with those power numbers against right-handed pitching. Yordan Alvarez, 52 at-bats. Again, one of those great left-handed power hitters, struggling against right-handed pitching. Christian Walker as well. It just hasn't lined up for them early in the season. But the joke is really, like, Wisniewski's going on the mound today. Last year, decent statistics through 283 batters. This year, very good against lefties, dominant. Righties, leaky a little bit, but I look at that lineup and I sort of get a chuckle like, all right, well, ISO power numbers, like that 160 range or higher is good. Like Ward is above that. Rengifo's right around it. Trout's 419. Solaire's 262. O'Hoppy's 342. Kyron Paris, 429. And Joe Adele, 233. Finally come through. How do you, like, is it just early season? Like, look, I can't buy too much into that. Sooner than later, it slows down. I had him on a team total last night, and it hit for me. I like these numbers today, though. Like, am I saying I'm jumping on them? No, but my goodness, Trouty, go on. Let's go.
Right. And this is part of one of the things with baseball, which I think we see more in this sport compared to others, where I think a lot of people would agree the Angels don't make the playoffs, right? Like that's when it's all said and done, they're not a playoff team. But if they're hot right now and they're cashing team total tickets, they're cashing total base props, whatever it might be, just ride the train while you can. Like it's the same thing with the Athletics. The Athletics games at home, they're going over. They're 6-2 to go. Just like ride the train while you can, stack up those units, stack up the plus money or positive money, and then jump off when it's over. The same thing with pitchers. They pile up strikeouts, and when it changes, you're off.
Let's line it up here let's line it up here against the Astros. So give me a nice little stack in the middle of the lineup. Come on, Trout looks good. Solaire looks good. O'Hoppy. Even Shanuel, you take a look at his numbers, a 338 weighted on base percentage, not too bad. Some low K rates here. But if I'm looking at Trout again, that resurgence where it's like, 16-1 to open the season as an MVP. I haven't checked this morning, but boy, not so much batting average wise, but the power is back. And that's really what you want to grade on when you have some of these stacks. Just takes one swing of the bat. Ball in the gap gets you a double. Double down the line, home run into the seats, and certainly available to do that in one of the smaller ballparks in Major League Baseball. That short porch in left field there is what you love to hit for the Astros. More Major League Baseball handicaps. They're right on the break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread waters. I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength. We need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
More baseball. Who says no? Certainly not these two guys, Tom and Donnie, here on a Sunday morning, setting the table on the on-deck circle for the games that are going to begin here at 1:35 Eastern, live on a Sunday. It's what we do. 9:59, 9:60 on the rotation. Next game up, 4:10 start. That's Colorado and San Diego. Freeland, the left-handed pitcher, will be on the mound today for the Rockies, going up against King for San Diego. You look at this line, and it's no surprise. Open up at minus 250. Some outlets still as high as 250. Some outlets around 235 or so or less. The total in this game opened up at 7.5. Now 7s across the board. Not a lot of offense last night out in San Diego. A great catch to end that game late, which could have saw a tie game go to extras, which I would have loved because I was on a Rockies ticket with a low team total, but it didn't happen. More pitching today. 7 is the total, Tom.
I do think we see more pitching today, and we're in a tough spot for the Rockies. They're 3-11, as we saw in the graphic to start.
Yeah.
But Kyle Freeland is their ace, right? Kyle Freeland's their ace. You get a big ticket on him at plus 194 money line. I'm not saying that's where I'm going, but he's been great to start the season. And as I said during the break, he has 0 walks this year. 0 walks this year through 19 innings pitched, 15 strikeouts. Ground ball pitcher, medium contact pitcher. If there's any type of pitcher that can nullify what the Padres want, which are fly balls, get their home runs out and going, it would be Kyle Freeland. Now, on the other side, Michael King, he's been up and down, 3 strikeouts, 11 strikeouts, 2 strikeouts in these 3 starts, kind of all over the place. He can obviously pile those up versus the Rockies. I'm not saying they're going to be at 11, but a 7-8 kind of mark for him would be natural. Again, another West Coast game about the under. They keep the power down, and the strikeouts on the Rockies are so evident that Michael King should be able to right the ship this after first, Rocky starts, no pun intended.
I mean, just a bad lineup for the Rockies, like all throughout there. Like, Kyle Forman's got a 323 weighted on base percentage against right-handed pitching, which is average. Same thing with McMahon, 324. You have Mickey Moniak, who's been cut like 70 times in his Major League Baseball career. He actually has the best statistics of them all, probably going to bat 9th, but the middle of that lineup leaves so much to be desired, and King should be able to get back on track. And then you take a look at San Diego, which we usually love that lineup. A couple of injuries have hit them, and certainly play hasn't been great. Weighted on base percentage of the first 3 guys in the order, Tatis, Arise, and also Machado, very good. After that, Bogarts, Gurriel, Gonzalez, Iglesias, Lockridge, and Diaz, all really underwhelming ISO power numbers and weighted on base percentages here in one of the great pitchers' ballparks. Now, granted, 69 degrees in San Diego on a Sunday. That's usually what it is. Nice cool temperatures, slight wind blowing out to right field. But I'm with you, Tom. I don't see a ton of runs in this game, and I'm not getting excited about some of the stacks that you could put together from either one. So completely just a wipeout for me. Let's get back to the East Coast, or close to the East Coast, out in the Rust Belt there. Cincinnati. That's going to be Pittsburgh going up against the Reds. 9:53, 9:54 on the rotation. A 1:40 start here. It is Majinski versus Green. And look at this number. Minus 188, now as high as 200s at most outlets in a total that went from 8 to 7.5. Green has a sensational power start to the season here. What gives today?
So I think the answer for a lot of people is this. I think a lot of people may be looking to compare the Reds with the Red Sox, 2 teams that the lines are juiced. Like, the Reds should be the favorite. Do we want to lay nearly 2-1 again on a Reds team that we think are maybe good and fun, but they're not great? And the Pirates are a team that, the bottom of the NL Central is kind of be up for grabs, and I don't want to lay 2 with the Reds. So Majinski, only 50 innings pitched last year. He had a low strikeout rate, 28% hard contact rate. Hunter Green, we know he's a good pitcher. He has that fastball working, 30% strikeout rate, 4% walk rate. It's down from last year. Walks were an issue with him over the first few years of his career. The home runs are down, and Pittsburgh, they come with a 23.4% strikeout rate versus righties, which is the 11th worst in the league. It's about 60 degrees, about 9-mile-per-hour wind blowing in. I still think it's another game about the under. And if there's any offense, it's probably going to be coming from the Cincinnati side of things.
By the way, excited too. Like Hunter Green, that guy we're just waiting on, saying, he's still a young pitcher. When he's going to figure it out? Last year, 611 batter he faced, a 28% strikeout rate. You take a look at a 116 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 266. That was last year's numbers. He was spectacular. Then you go over to this year and say, okay, left off right in that same place. 75 batters faced, a 30% K rate, which also includes an ISO of 069 and a weighted on base percentage of 173. Then you look at the lineup and say, all right, Pittsburgh, what do you have to offer me? Outside of O'Neal Cruz, Looks like they have nothing to offer you in that entire lineup at this point. And then Cincinnati on the other side. Take a look at Majinski, who was very good through 209 batters last year. Maybe a high and elevated, let's just say, to lefties, a weighted on base percentage. But outside of that, the power numbers are down. And the only batter that's worth anything in that lineup today for me, who had a grand slam yesterday, is Ellie De La Cruz, expected to hit out of that 3-hole today with 38 at-bats going up against right-handed pitching this season, a 250 ISO, and a weighted on base percentage of 388. Underwhelming games here. A lot of good pitchers on the mound today, trying to find those values. Because also understand this, if you have good pitchers on the mound, that means those RBI props and home run props are going to be inflated numbers here. Value in the eye of the beholder. More Major League Baseball coming up next. More handicap on the way.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, because I think that puts into a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, we need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's get the warmer temperatures involved. We might have slightly warmer temperatures in New York today, thank goodness. But we do have a good game on deck here and two prospective aces on the mound looking to mine for some gold. 975, 976 on the rotation. It's a 135 start today in the Bronx. It's Webb versus Rodon. Lefty versus Webb. Look at the price points here. Minus 136 overnight. Buyback here on San Francisco, Tom, as low as 120 at multiple outlets. You also take a look at the total. 7.5 at the opening number. Now we're seeing some 8 start to drip through. First, Tom, if you have some weather updates you want to give us, which can't be any worse than what we've seen the past couple of days, let's start there.
No, like you said, it's actually going to be somewhat nice. 50s, a little bit of wind blowing out at Yankee Stadium. It's better than the 40s that we saw, so the wind's always good. Yeah. Logan Webb is awesome. He's an awesome pitcher, and he's been this way for multiple years. The change this year for him is that the strikeout rate is up. 19 innings pitched this year, 30% strikeout rate, up from 20% last year. So again, what do you want? What are we telling ourselves? Like, am I buying into Logan Webb actually being a higher strikeout rate pitcher than he was in his past? He has a 54% ground ball rate this year, and an 18% fly ball rate is so low. Will that stay? No. 22% hard contact rate. He has a 1.85 xFIP. The Yankees also have a 27.4% strikeout rate versus righties, which is the third highest in the league. So Webb is striking out more hitters than he ever has. The Yankees are in an optimal spot, and he also does not allow fly balls, which neutralizes what the Yankees want to do. Rodon on the other side, 1.56 home runs per 9 allowed this season. An over 240 ISO versus righties this year. So Flores and Ramos on the Giants side of things, that's where I'd probably be looking. Matt Chapman didn't come through for me the other night. I can't go back to him. I think we see some runs in this game. Yeah,
by the way, Matt Chapman last night, I needed a 1+1+1 market to get through on my guy Yaz on that team, which, by the way, you like to take some time sometimes and get angry at some of the ways you can get beat. If I told you before the game, the 1+1+1 market, if anybody's watching, it's just 1 run, 1 hit, or 1 RBI, any combination of those cashes a ticket. Yaz was on base twice yesterday when a double took place in that game. He didn't score. But in the 9th inning, Devin Williams is on the mound, one of the better closers in baseball. Couldn't figure it out to start. Walks Yastrzemski there. A double down the line, which, again, Yaz doesn't score. Third base, inning should be over at that point because everybody's back in the infield. So the simple ground ball would catch that ticket. Strikeout. One of those guys there in the middle of the order certainly didn't help me out as well, which is the guy you were just talking about. But as I digress today, and we take a look at the marketplace, Logan Webb, sensational season last year for the Giants. 842 batters. Everything was great. You take a look at this year, Tom. 69 batters. Everything is great. So let me ask you this question. Really like what Ben Rice I've seen out of him for the New York Yankees. Leadoff spot. Great numbers as a lefty. Aaron Judge right behind him, so he sort of gets a little bit more of that protection. Goldschmidt and also Bellinger. Not great numbers against right-handed pitching this season. Chisholm, good power numbers, low weighted on base percentage, Volpe, Dominguez. How do you approach today with that lineup that has so much power and typically is so good with Logan Webb? Because that number, the 7.5 now sitting at 8. So we're expecting a little bit of offense today.
We are. It depends on, do you want to be all in on one side? Because if you are theoretically all in on one side, and it's not just about this game.
Yep.
We'd be talking about Webb under strikeouts. We'd be talking about your 1+1+1. We'd be getting that into multiple spots in the Yankees, a team total over. And, you could attack it multiple different ways. So if you trust the Yankees to get over, maybe the Giants bullpen falls through, then you take their team total because you're not exactly sure who's going to do it in the Yankees lineup. If you expect Webb to get hit early and often, then you could probably just take the under on his outs, the under on his strikeouts, whatever it might be. And then the Yankees come through and you're betting on the Yankees to do things. You just don't know, again, who's it going to be. It could be Judge, it could be Wells, it could be Rice, whatever it might be.
Yeah, a lot of right-handed bats in the lineup today for the Giants, and rightfully so. That's the way you get after Carlos Rodon. Last year struggled with right-handed batters, struggling a little bit this year with them. We'll see if they come to play, but also understand this. The short porch is in right field. Typically a right-handed batter, going to be knocking that ball the opposite direction in order to get to the short porch. We'll see if that makes some sense here. Matos, decent numbers, only 6 at-bats against lefties this year. Same thing with Wilmer Flores. Tough game overall. I just wish we had worse pitching matchups on the mound today. You probably could have had some fun in the Bronx with us on this one. We'll go to the nightcap tonight. Sunday night baseball, 7:10 start. Rotational number, 961, 962. That's the Chicago Cubs, fresh off of a 2-touchdown, 2-point conversion performance in a shutout victory over the Dodgers. It's going to be Colin Ray versus Tyler Glasnow, and a monster favorite, as usual, for the Dodgers. 250 opening number, 265 to 275 across the betting markets, an 8.5 total at the opening number, still sits 8.5, Tom. We are expecting a bounce back, at least the public, from the Dodgers today.
Yeah, and I would say that the Dodgers are probably also a popular team to pair with the Red Sox, right? Like we talked about, we don't want to lay 220, whatever it was, minus 220 for the Red Sox. You just pair them off with the Dodgers. The Red Sox are not going to lose and get swept by the White Sox. Dodgers bounce back. Simple as that. Colin Ray was announced as a starter. It wasn't announced last night, but last year, not good stuff for him overall. Over 200 ISO allowed versus lefties. A little bit lower versus righties. Glasnow obviously didn't pitch a full season last year. He's off to a bit of a rocky start this year, but we know the strikeouts will always be there for Tyler Glasnow, especially versus lefties, up at 32.8% last year. The home runs still continue to be an issue for Tyler Glasnow. With the power that the Cubs have, I am worried that we're not going to see prime Glasnow, again, who's been off to a rocky start. It wasn't a great start for him versus your Phillies, and today's not an easy landing spot either. So despite the fact that we saw sub 3.0 xFIPS versus Glasnow, does not say he's perfect. The home runs can come through, and I think we'll see that today.
Yeah, 16 total runs yesterday, each and every one of those by the Chicago Cubs. Take a look at Glasnow last year, very good season, even though 505 at batters he's faced. Struggling this season somewhat, too, because really it's the walks in Philadelphia that got him into a lot of trouble, which is going to skew some of those statistics on an early season. ISO power number against both lefties and righties, that's a 0. Weighted on base percentage low, because if you get a couple errors, you get a couple walks here, that certainly is going to get you into a little bit more trouble at this point. I look at that Cubs lineup today. Don't love it a lot. They're low K rates, though, however, against against right-handed pitching. We'll see if they can hit more to some contact. Colin Ray on the opposite side. You're just looking at last year, an average season, a 189 weighted on base, ISO power number, and a weighted on base percentage of 311. K rate's decent last year. Walk rate's decent, but you're facing one of the best lineups in baseball that struggled last night. Let me just ask you a quick question on this. We know the Dodgers are better than 0 runs and getting beat by 16 runs. And your handicapping prowess here, I know it's usually just about statistics. Is it an anticipated bounce back tonight for them, for both Glasnow and the Dodgers, without even looking at the numbers per se?
Yeah, I think you can say that to an extent. You're just from a pride perspective, just from a talent perspective, they could be facing a better pitcher compared to Colin Ray, and we still expect the Dodgers to bounce back because that's just what the Dodgers are. So some people just have that type of intuition where they're just listen, this team's really good. I don't care what the underlying numbers are going to say. The betting lines may not be perfect, but we still expect this team to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm just going to bet on that thing to happen.
Yeah, we'll see if it plays out here. But at this point now, we got to start selling something. We got to let the people know what they should be digging on today. One of our favorite segments here. Sell me something, Tom, on what we need or a player to watch today.
So sell me something. We got to do something that's a little bit out of the ordinary. Something that we're not going to – it's just not a normal bet. It's not just, we're just strikeouts, not just total bases. I've mentioned before on this show and various shows, I don't often bet on first 5 money lines. It's not just something I do, but I'm going to sell myself on this. And I'm going to sell myself on Luis Severino having a great performance against his former team that did not offer him the contract, as I alluded to earlier in the show, did not offer him that 2-year, $40 million contract he signed with the Athletics. So Athletics first 5 money line sitting at plus 120. As I said, Severino has been off to a good start this year. I'm not saying it's amazing. Senga, small sample size this year, small sample size last year. And again, there will be runs in this game. And I'm banking on the Athletics with a fun and powerful lineup getting through past Senga, despite the fact that the Mets have a phenomenal pitching staff. The runs are going to be there today. I don't know if they win the game, but give me that first 5 from the Athletics.
Soderstrom goes deep today. I can see it right now. 1-0 at the end of 5. You cash in that ticket. Everybody goes home happy. For me, sell me something. It's going to come from the Philadelphia Phillies. And sometimes you take a look at Nick Castellanos, where if you ever seen his interviews, it seems like he's upset that he's getting asked any questions at this point. And also, going on a streak is what he loves to do. Rip the cover off the baseball, then go ice cold. Yesterday, a big-time performance. Now, coming into today, on the season, 16 at-bats going up against left-handed pitching, a 357 ISO and a 543 weighted on-base percentage. In front of him, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, and Kyle Schwarber. 2+ RBI day today for Casty, which, as Tom pointed out, just give me a pop fly to left field. That ball is carrying an extra 15 feet into the seats to cash in numbers, plus 450 number. More props on the way, more picks on the way. How about this? It's Pro Baseball today, right here on the Grid, and we'll be back.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, so I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength. We need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
It's a Sunday. It's Sunday Fun Day right here on the SportsGrid Network, Series 6M Channel 159. Tom Vecchio, Donnie right side here. More plays, more wagers, more ways to find some fun. Let's hit some pitchers props today, Tom. And are you sailing? Are you? That's a question.
I am. I am. Let's turn to the Atlanta Braves and Chris Sale, their ace on the mound. Really like him against the Rays today. Over 6.5 strikeouts. Seeing a -113. That's where I got it. If you can find a better number, of course, do so. He's got a 25.8% strikeout rate this season. 1.5% walk rate is phenomenal. Now, he's never been a big walk pitcher in his career. He's only at 5.6% last year. We know how great he was. Seeing 5, 5, 7 strikeouts in descending order from his starts. But most importantly, the matchup versus the Rays, again, 13th worst in the league, 24.8% versus lefties. Based on what we have seen with the Braves over the past few games to start the season, they need him out there for innings. I like this matchup despite the weather being nice. He gets there. He gets the 7, maybe even 8.
How about that? Sale looking for a nice little bounce back effort down there in Florida today. We'll see if it plays out. I'm going to pick on a really bad offense in a pitcher's ballpark, and I'm looking for a big performance out of Michael King of the San Diego Padres. The reason being for me, coming into this game, 25.8% strikeout rate. Again, it's only through 62 batters. Let's call it 26%. Last year, Tom, about 28%. So he's really on that point. But sometimes it's not so much about the pitcher. It's about the lineup you're going up against. Take a look at some of the K rates today in the lineup anticipated for the Colorado Rockies. Zach Veen, 38.5%. Kyle Former, we'll just round up, 26%. Tovar, 17%. McMahon, 35%. Bryant, 31%. Martini, 22%. Toglia, 50%. Goodman, 35%. Moniak, 25%. Now, granted, you look at the number there, it's 7.5 for Michael King, but I'm going over at a -110 price. If I think we're not going to get a lot of offense for the Rockies, which means King should pitch into the late 6th, at least 7th inning of this game, I think he should be mowing down the Rockies today for a nice day out there for the Padres. I'm looking at Michael King, San Diego Padres, over 7.5 strikeouts at a -110 price. 2 pitching props, which I believe, Tom, we swept last week on Sunday's card. Looking for another sweep today on the pitching props. But, yeah, we like pitching props. You know, we like more balls into the seats, baby. Home runs, Tom's bombs today. Give me 3 players we need to look at that are going yard today.
One quick note on that pitching prop. I had to drop Toglia from my fantasy team because he strikes out too much, like you said, up at 50%.
Hey,
but let's turn to those home runs today.
Strikeout today. Yeah. Put him back in the strikeout.
Let's turn to those home runs today. James Wood, producer favorite, behind the scenes. Sam wants it to see one. James Wood plus 600 is a phenomenal number. Now, if you glance at his Baseball Savant page, if you go to that, and you look at his batting, it lights up redder than a Christmas tree. We're looking at an X-Sluggy, average exit velocity, barrel rate, hard hit rate, and the bat speed, all at the 93rd percentile or higher. He's absolutely phenomenal. We spoke at length about Cal Quantrill, the pitcher for the Marlins today, how he struggles. It was last year. Granted, some of the stats I mentioned specifically versus righties, but mentioned that he was bad last year on the road, even though he was a Rockies pitcher last year. So I love him at this price. Also want to turn to Manny Machado. He's been swinging a great bat to start the year. Kyle Freeland, yes, he is a little bit of a ground ball, medium contact pitcher, and he's off to a good start. He's not walking hitters, but I like the price on Manny Machado when we have great hitting weather. We're getting at over 4-1. And then finally, Tyler Soderstrom for the Athletics. As I mentioned, I like their first 5 line. Senga is a good pitcher for the Mets. We know the ghost fork and what he can do with that, but the power is clearly there versus righties with a 413 ISO to start the season. Love this spot for the Athletics.
Name recognition, baby. Get after it. And by the way, James Wood, I think there's a legitimate chance he goes deep. Look, that's a big canyon ballpark down in Miami, but the numbers do stay up tonight. The first four guys in that lineup, I think they do damage, and that includes certainly James Wood. Let's get to some of my dingers for myself this weekend here. This is Sunday, we should say. I'm going to go Ellie De La Cruz of the Cincinnati Reds, and also home run props, some of the toughest to hit because you need some luck, yes. Home runs don't happen all the time, and the best home run hitters in Major League Baseball sometimes can get to 50 home runs over 162 games. So not as easy as it looks here. But for me, you take a look at Majinski on the mound. Decent pitcher, but it's more of yesterday, Ellie De La Cruz on bobblehead day, launching a grand slam home run. 250 is his ISO power number. 388 is a weighted on base percentage to 38 at bats. Yes, he strikes out a lot, but boy, that is a power swing. And I'm going to take a price point on Ellie at a plus 380 price. Also, trying to stay hot in a smaller ballpark. I'm going Mike Trout today to hit a home run. We know the base knocks aren't technically there at a 212 average, as you see on the screen right there. But look at the 6 home runs and take a look at the power numbers. Wisniewski, who has struggled with right-handed batters this season, both ISO power number and weighted on base percentage. Mike Trout through 51 at bats, a 419 ISO and a 395 weighted on base percentage. Low K rate, low walk rate here at this point. So I'm looking for a launch pad there for Mike Trout. Send one into the Crawford boxes this weekend. That price point would be a plus 350 number. Now, we're going to go out to Sacramento. Tom's like, you know what? I'm going to go Athletics on this one with our guy Soder over there to pop a home run. I'm going to flip it to the other side. We're going to New York Metropolitans today, and you know that's going to be Pete Alonso in the middle of that lineup. Look at some of these statistics. Severino's on the mound. Last year, very good against righties. This year, again, limited, only 42 at-bats, but a 263 ISO and a 350 weighted on base percentage against. Look at my guy, Pete Alonso. 44 at-bats against righties this year, 444 ISO, weighted on base percentage, 518, but even more impressive. What do you always think about the polar bear? Either he hits it or he strikes out, no in between. Tom, look at that K rate this year. 9% against right-handed pitching, which means the ball will be in play. And for me, Pete Alonso, plus 350 to hammer that out. So 6 home run props, feeling good today, but it's nice to know that we're looking at one ballpark. We got a piece of both sides of the puzzle there, Tom.
Absolutely, and that's been the biggest change for Pete Alonso, where the power's there, but it was always the strikeouts. You keep those strikeouts under control, he just gives himself more bites at the apple, no pun intended, with Citi Field out there. Not today, but in theory, give himself more chances with the ball in play, and good things will happen. He's off to a great start this year.
Yeah, it's good stuff here. We love to see the home runs. Let's get a couple of them here out of the ballpark. And look, especially with Tom's, one is going to catch a ticket. Actually, mine as well. Each one of those, at least a 350 or higher. So 1 for 3 makes a lot of sense at this point. And that's what you're for. 2 of 3, 3 of 3. Now you're talking that God mode stage at that point. We'll see if we can do that. 6 for 6 between Tom and myself. Yeah, it could be a possibility here. But you know what also is a possibility? Picking some dog plays out there today. And I'm going to get caught up in the web in the Bronx here. And as I take a look at Tom, little veteran action where some people pronounce that pitcher's name completely wrong, but we don't do that here. Know who these two pitchers are next right here.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith-Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, so I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength. We need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
That's how you do it over 2 hours here. One segment to go. Pro Baseball Today, SportsGrid Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. Tom Vecchio and Donnie Rightside here giving you plays, giving you picks, giving you props. But also understand this. Most of the lineups are just coming out now. So obviously while we're live on the air 2 hours, we try to get as many updates as possible. But you always used to people contact you, wow, where can I get more here? Tom's always posting tickets on X. Same thing as myself on social media. Feel happy to reach out any questions that you have. We're always certainly well involved to engage with that and have some fun. But as the tickets come out today, we'll put more and more out there. But let's get to some fun here because most people always like to bet favorites. Not every favorite wins. So this segment, Tom, we talk about the top dogs and the big dogs on the marketplace here. So an underdog play for you, Tom, that the people might be able to dig on. Who is it?
Yeah, underdogs, we're always shooting for a little bit of plus money. You know, where we are in the league right now, we're never going to be getting massive numbers outside of the White Sox, outside of the Rockies. Like, we're seeing some real competitiveness. As I talked about with the AL Central, these teams are constantly juggling. We're never getting massive lines. Regardless of that, point notwithstanding, let's turn to the Blue Jays today. Plus 120. I like them to come away with things. And we talk about the offense on both sides. We talk about the pitchers. I'm going to focus on Cade Povich. Again, a pitcher I've talked about a lot. Last year, Cade Povich had a 4.99 xFIP. Let's call it 5 for the sake of argument. This year, it's down at 3.06. He's improved. That is a dramatic improvement from 5 down to 3. He's doing so while his hard contact rate allowed this year is higher than it was last year. So he's giving up a 38.2% hard contact rate this year compared to 28.9% last year. So what I'm buying into is the fact that I think he's a good pitcher, and the way he is as a prospect in the Orioles organization is that he's highly touted. But going from 5 to 3 in terms of the xFIP, that's too much of a jump for me. So I want to buy into him long term. I have him on my fantasy team, just to be clear, and I'm starting him today. I still think the Blue Jays are in a spot to put the offense together. So I like the price that we're getting at plus 120 when these teams are neck and neck in the standings. It's a toss-up. And I'm getting a pitcher that I think is overperforming at the moment. He will even things out as the year goes on, and he will be good. Just right now, it's a little bit too much.
Yep, there you go. Dog of the day there for Tom Vecchio. For me, I'm going to go with a guy named Logan. Now, either Logan that you take today is probably going to have a filthy performance here, but I got to take a dog because it's the dog market here. That's going to be the San Francisco Giants. That's Logan Webb and not Logan Gilbert of the Seattle Mariners. If we take a look at the season, last year, already went over the numbers. Absolutely filthy dominant last year. Doing the same type of things this season. 69 batters that he's faced, a 30% K rate overall, 37% the left-handed batters, 26% the right-handed batters. A low walk rate, which means traffic is going to be minimal. An ISO power number against, if we combine lefty and righty hitters this year, 0.46. Weighted on base percentage, 241. Ground ball percentage, Tom, 57%, exactly what you want to be when you're heading into the Bronx in a game at 52 degrees. Seems like balmy temperatures here. And then a wind blowing out to right field, that short porch of 10 miles per hour. You take a look at that Yankees lineup. Here's what I like even more going up today. Ben Rice, who's a very good hitter, and we'll start with him, 24% K rate. Judge, 31% K rate. Bellinger, 38% K rate. Goldschmidt's actually decent at 20%. And then Chisholm, 42% K rate. Volpe, 28%. Dominguez, 26%. Escara, I haven't even heard that name before there for the Yanks, 29%. And Cabrera, 27%. All high K rate numbers. For me, that spells you're going to be in this game. It's a dog price. I'll take the Giants and see how it works out for me. So come on now, Logan Webb. Hold up your end of the bargain, plus 108 for me, Tom.
Yeah, and even if he does allow a solo shot here or there because there's wind blowing out today, as you said, Yankees as a team, 27.4% strikeout rate in the entire season versus righty. So you can allow one home run, but he can get that back and shut down the rest of the lineup for the next inning or two.
Exactly. Now, Tom, it is Sunday. It is Major League Baseball, but I know you to be a huge Masters fan today. So you're going to even watch any baseball today, the rest of the day after the show.
Just to be clear, I'm rooting for Rory. I want him to see. I don't have any tickets on Rory. I have a ticket on Morikawa and Fleetwood. Those are obviously not coming through. But I want to see Rory complete the career Grand Slam, or him just to button that up and go after the long drought that he's on.
Yeah, you know what I do like, too? Because we have all the information in now. And it's great because we each, handicap our own different styles. And the people that watching the show do the same exact thing. But it's always fun, like after the 2 hours is up, you do get to decompress. Because when we do Pro Football Today on a Sunday, hey, thanks for joining the show. And 30 seconds later, kickoff is there. So you can't really make any adjustments after being on a long show. It's nice to know that this show gets done 12 Eastern, and then 1:35 is the first game. So we can handicap and put those tickets out. And if you guys are watching right now, both myself and Tom, you see the Twitter hand beneath our names right there. Yes, reach out to us. The tickets will be out there. Have some fun. Any thoughts that you have where you have a play or some tickets, we love to see those out here. Same way we'll reciprocate and share those that we have as well. And Tom, by the way, already out with 2 tickets right now. Let the people know quickly who you got already.
Yeah, you got 2 RBIs from the Phillies, Harper and Schwarber, and then a quick little hit parlay. Wood, Machado, and Altuve come through with the boost. You got to utilize the boost when you can.
Utilize the boost, people. It's Donnie and Tom. Thanks for tuning in. Next Monday, we'll be right back. Pro Baseball Today.